What's shaking YouTube? It's the Angel of Authenticity here. I've been to do a little piece. I was inspired to talk about give and take a little bit. There's some keynotes I want to factor in here. It's gonna all fold up into one little. Hopefully, it's one video. Give and take. Did you know that only 30% of people that actually say that phrase, it's about give and take here, that actually say it, actually are saying to you, why won't you step out of your boundaries? Why can't I have what you already said I can't have? Because they're not feeling satisfied with an exchange. Okay, so fast forward, delete, rewind, whatever. These people almost always, they got a plethora of issues, but like almost always, these people will be in a position of leadership. They'll be bosses, they'll be foremen, they'll be superintendents or supervisors. There'll be somebody that's got to have the edge on you for some reason, where you go to them to tell them everything, and anything that they don't tell you, they want to come to you and know. You know, they're difficult to get a hold of, though. Like, for example, it'll look like this: you'll be an independent contractor, say, working labor jobs. When time comes to get paid, although there seems to be flamboyant spending, you didn't really worry about getting paid. When it comes time to get paid, though, they'll always be too busy and a reason why they're not there on payday to pay you. Now, if you wanted to pay on Wednesday, they'll say, oh, I pay on Friday. I'll see you Friday about that. So then Friday comes along and comes and goes. Saturday comes and goes. Nope. No, now you're not even going to go to work Sunday or Monday because you haven't got paid yet, you know? And it goes on. It's a vicious loop. And they'll always mediocrely pay you. They'll still owe you something. Like they're doing you a favor because they pay on Friday. So anybody that sees them paying you on Tuesday is going to be like, oh, yeah, they needed something. Because that's what they'll make it look like. Okay. So even though the money's not an issue, they will use it as control to manipulate and to get a rise out of you, to get that spirit of fence going and brood up in you because they think they own it and they're actually harvesting that energy. It's not about the work you're doing. That's why it doesn't matter about the equipment that's there on the job site looking like shit and getting lost and everything's wasted and it just doesn't make sense. It's like, how are you operating a business for this? Because they're not. They're not. That's a roost. That's a heist. That's a cover. It's a reason to pull in people that are um, vulnerable, that need a job, that need money. And you always need like money on your first day. They'll give you a little bit, they'll string it along, and then boom, you make your terms. You both agree on what you're supposed to do, what you're doing. Now you got money to work all week or 2 weeks for them, and then you'll get paid shit pay compared to what you're supposed to get paid. And they'll be like, oh, I don't know, we were supposed to have all this done and it's not even done, to make you feel like you were an inferior worker on top of all of it. And then when they pay you, they'll say, this is give and take. Classic manipulation. I mean, that's so classic. It's like that's elementary level um, position and situation that you'll see somebody trying to make a hierarchy for themselves when they're not important. That's the thing. They're just not that important and they want to be. So they do these things and they structure their life so they appear to be important. So everybody seeks them out because they need them for money. They need them for this. They need them for that. It's not that they're trying to help you out, ever. Here's how you can tell. If you set boundaries, the boss says there's no using a company truck after midnight. There's no blah, blah, blah. And there's boundaries. There's contractual, verbal or whatever. Boundaries, rules, agreements, there's stipulations, whatever you want to call it, in your work. You know what you're supposed to do. They know that they're supposed to pay you whatever an hour, whatever you agree to. But it'll never be like that. And they'll only, it's all about give and take. Before you know it, if you let that happen, you're going to be the employee, the mentor, the supermarket shopper. You're going to be taking grandma to get her meds. You're going to be rooked into that dude's life just as much as he's rooked into that life. And you ain't going to have no time for your shit. And you're going to be barely scraping by just the same, like it was all your business to deal with or all your shit to deal with. Now, you're either going to have all your time invested into it and make just diddly squat. I mean, you won't be a mooch at least, but you're not going to make no money. Or they won't spend no time with you. You'll never see the boss. But it's always like that. And you're constantly drained. You're always rushing. You always feel behind, but you always feel like you're not doing enough or you could do more. You know, it's like the phone rings all day long and that dude's like ready to fucking tell you what to do or see how things are going. But when it comes time to get it paid, the motherfucker's silent, you know, because they want to give you that. They want to give you that fucking stress, worry, anxiety, fear, you know, anger, you name it, they want it. Because they're just going to they're going to calm it, harvest that energy, circle it back around for the next time. And then it'll look like, oh, hey, you want to work tomorrow? You know? And it's like it never happened. You know, you're back to square one again with the person every time, over and over and over. This happens in relationships. This happens with neighbors. This happens with people's interactions a lot when you have this manipulator involved. But when they don't want to spend no time with you ever, that's a very, very big red flag. That's not just having a shitty boss. You need a different job to work or something. That's a different red flag. That is somebody harvesting your energy and fucking around in the ethers and your soul experience here with the things that we're not supposed to do. Why do I say that? Because they'll give you plenty of time to be by yourself and give you all these things. It's just a bunch of garbage. It's just a bunch of garbage. Neat toys to look at, things to pillage through, doodahs to clean, work, lots of work. They're harvesting your energy. That's all they're doing. They want to be important. They want to be in control. They want to seed anything that you're starting, anything brand new. Oh, you want a truck? Oh, I'll give you the money. You know? Oh, you want to go check that out? I'll give you a ride. They want to keep that control over you. They won't just be like a white person and say, ah, you have to have a car to use. That's easy. Anybody in their right mind is going to be like that, especially when you're so busy, you forget it's Friday to pay your employees. You know what I mean? You're so busy. You got all your stuff laying around everywhere you go, everywhere that you own any of the people or the things there, it's going to be laying around and it's going to be fucking mad and looking like shit because something hasn't been made right, you know? And if people will treat their objects and their things and the tools and the implements of destruction for their business there like crap and leave it, blame it on somebody else, make it somebody else's job to take care of. Even if it's their first day, you're talking to owners and shit. You know, that's the contrasting opposite of the hovercraft boss that does the boundary stepping. You might tell them, hey, I don't like to be talked to like that. Don't yell at me just because you're mad at the load, or they won't stop. Say they just can't control their own shit, so you got to get a different job. But there's the silent boundary steppers, the ones that think that only their boner matters. You know what I mean? Like, the egos are so big on these people, they already think that they're better than you, which what they base that on is like so funny to me. It's like, wow, you're the jinkiest person I know, really, like, and a dork. So, like, I don't know why you would believe that. You know, and I don't feel the need to explain why I would feel like I could hold grounds with another human being. I don't explain myself to demons, you know, but these traits are always there. They've always knocked on your door. When they say, oh, it's all about give and take here. I'm going to pay you half of what you're owed. You're going to feel like you didn't do enough, and you have that shame and that guilt and like all that other shit. And they win. They're harvesting that. Devil's like, oh, here, have some good cheer there to the janky person because they made you feel that way, got you in your feelings. And they think they did anyway. And with me, it don't work like that. But like, it has many times in the past. That's why I could speak so freely on it. Because I'm like the queen of having to deal with that shit. To the point where it's like, I could almost call the steps like a chess game. I'm very good at chess. I don't know if you know that. Literally, though, they would be like, ew, you want to do this later? You know, after you've had a total falling out, they'll act like nothing ever happened. Because they know you need them. That's what they're thinking in their mind. Oh, they need me. They're going to have the money. I know they want to move. Oh, I know they need a car. They won't actually provide that because they don't give a fuck about your life. They want to take. Statistically, it's 1 in 4 has actually got the right mind and heart into it when they say it's about give and take. And when it's not said at the very beginning before any transactions happen. Now, if you're like hiring a new guy and it's like you talking back and forth about what you expect and you say it, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about any transactions after you're working for them and they say that every time. 1 out of 4 is actually sincere about that and actually doesn't mean any malice or the person's being a total lazy shit worker. But if they're a lazy shit worker and you don't like what they do, get rid of them and get somebody else. Quit knocking on their door. But they don't, because they want what they can't have. They want what the boundary is said that they cannot have, period. I want $100 an hour. No, actually, I make more than that. I want $250 an hour. I've made up to $500 an hour before. I've made $7,000 of legal money in a day. So, like, to me, it's like you're talking about a couple of 20s for the last 24 hours worth of work, and you're telling me it's give and take because you're not getting what you want and you can't step over a boundary.